Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, PT Pop coming to you tonight with all four lobes of my brain tied securely behind my back, if you know what I mean. I come to you tonight, my friends, a very lonely and humbled hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite and a liar because I have made several videos prior to this one telling you all the horrors of a call center, horrors of working in a call center, and none of you should ever do it unless you absolutely have to. Well, I apologize. I'm afraid I succumbed to desperation, and I went to work in a call center again. After about 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. I don't know what it's been. It's been a while. Now, let me give you a little bit of background. I took this job because it was a local bank that we had banked with, and I did some research on the company. They're listed as one of the top 10 banks to work for in the area, in top 10 companies to work for in the area. They had just merged with another bank. Their profits had increased by 32%, and their stock had doubled. It looked like a stellar place to work. Well, I went to the interview, and the interviewer told me, and I knew this right away, it was a warning sign he was a cheerleader. And he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Come on in. You're going to be love working here. I love working here. You're going to love working here. I love working here. Rock and roll in for rock and roll atmosphere, rock cash pay daily," that kind of thing. He told me it was a great company to work for with great benefits. There was a $1 shift differential if I work a second shift, and the only shifts available were second shift, they told me. And I trained in a brand new state-of-the-art training room, going to be the biggest call center in the company. We'll have 400 people in here by August 2017, which is now, this month. Well, I get there, I take the job. Training was in the basement of the building. It was in a windowless room with no ventilation. It was too hot or too cold. Women were bringing blankets to stay warm. The state-of-the-art training room with the state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment was an easel pad sheet, 2 sheets from an easel pad taped to the wall, manila paper that kept falling off. That was the projection screen. Their projector was a laptop with a real cheap projector stuck into a USB port propped up with books. So it was kind of at an angle. The best part of training was a very nice man who obviously had been given too much to do in a short period of time. We got there. We were told we'd be on the phones in 3 days. We had been training 3 days, and they put us on the phone. 3 days. After 1 week of training, we lost 3 people. We had a training class of 24 employees, and 3 people either quit, resigned, or got fired. That's a 12.5% loss in just 1 week. We get on the floor after just 1 week of training. We're on the phones. We lost 9 more reps. I would say within the first 7 weeks total, we lost about 50% of the class. We lost about 12 people. Just gone, fired, or walked out the door or something. Huge, tremendous loss. And I find out as I got on the floor that the shift differential is only after 5 p.m. I work from 3 to 11. So I wasn't making an additional dollar an hour for the full 8 hours. It's only for part of the time. So it averaged out to be like less than what I thought I was going to make. I wasn't told that in the interview or in my offer letter. The insurance that I was told was so awesome and so great because it's such a great rock and roll atmosphere. You know, dude, come on and work here, dude. You know, to me, that's how millennials talk. The insurance was awful. I don't remember. I think it was Prudential or something. The insurance, they took like $100 a paycheck or a month out of your paycheck. So you paid a premium, and the minimum deductible for this wonderful insurance was $2,500, and it went up from there. So the insurance stunk. The shift differential wasn't what they said it would be. After 7 weeks of training, we're closing in on like end of July. They've only had 1 training class come out after ours. That second training class that came out had maybe 30 people in it. They'd already lost 15. If there were that many people left, I think there might have been 5 or 6 people left in that training class. So we were supposed to have ramped up by this time of the year. We're supposed to have 400 people in it. There were nowhere near 400 people. This entire building, this is like a 400,000 square foot building on 18 acres of land. Okay, and I know this for a fact because I looked up the county records. The parking lot on the busiest part of the day only had a couple hundred cars in it. There was never, ever 400 people in this building on the busiest of day. And it wasn't all a call center. There were other offices in the building. The building was almost empty at times, especially after 3 o'clock. Everyone was gone. Middle of May I find out. Beginning of June, or maybe it was July, I don't remember the time frame, they closed one of the other call centers. 120 to 200 people just gone, let go. No. Of course, they're not going to tell us about it, but we find out because the call volume increased. Our call volume was usually maybe 10 to 20 calls on hold. All of a sudden, we had 120 people on hold, waiting for any from 40 minutes to an hour to talk to one of us. Within that same time frame, while we were on the phones, they took away all of our support departments, the people that we could call. If we didn't know something the customer was asking us, there was a number we could call and say, hey, I got customer XYZ on the phone. Can you answer this for me? Because I can't find it. I don't know the answer. And they would answer it for you. Well, one day I called and all of a sudden they said, I'm sorry, that department's not closed. I asked someone just next to me, and said, what happened to this department? I said, somebody told me they're closed until further notice, which means layoffs. Then another department was supposed to help us with loans. I called that number. They're closed until further notice. So I asked the alleged supervisor. She said, well, I'm sorry, both departments are closed until further notice. I'm like, you mean they'll be open later tonight? She's like, no, they're closed until further notice, she said to me, like I'm some fucking little kindergartner retard or something. I started to see the writing on the wall. I mean, the place is slowly falling apart. Apparently, corporate didn't put the thought into the call center that they should have. It was obviously an afterthought. They put no planning into this whatsoever. The supervisors they had on the floor weren't supervisors, and none of them had ever been supervisors before. Some of them didn't even have call center experience. They had only been with the company maybe 2 months, and then they, quote, got promoted. So my last week there, I kept getting escalated calls because people were furious. They'd been waiting on hold for an hour. I wouldn't either give them credits they wanted or something was wrong with their accounts. So they'd ask, I want to speak to your supervisor. Well, in that situation, you're supposed to be able to go get a supervisor in 100% of the other companies I work for, and a supervisor would take the call. And they had been doing this with us up until this point. Now I go up to the supervisor and say, I've got a supervisor call. My own supervisor said to me, if I take one more supervisor call, I'm going to say something I'll regret. I'm not taking it. You're going to have to deal with it yourself. I'm like, what? I was stunned. I went numb. And that's how, from that point forward, as the layoffs started happening and the call center started closing, these people refused to do their jobs, refused to take supervisor calls. One guy told me, well, it's 10 to 10. It's time for me to go home. I'm not taking a supervisor call now. And he just walked away from me. Look, my talk time at this place was 240 seconds. That's what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be 4 minutes. My talk time was anywhere from 460 to 800 seconds. It was just outrageous. I mean, the whole thing was insane. And the customers, I haven't been in a call center in a couple of years. And I used to say my experience of Verizon Wireless with the customers there was horrible. These customers were crazy. They were freaking insane. And they would say the weirdest things to you, and they would cry, and they would beg, and they'd talk about people that had broken into their bank accounts, or they wanted advice on stuff that I had no authority to talk to them about. One lady, I had to shut off her debit card because of fraud. She started sobbing. A grown-ass woman sobbing because she just loves her debit card so much. She don't shut off my debit card. I'm like, oh God, this is too weird even for me. I was looking for Rod Serling in the corner going, Pete Tompkins, a dedicated call center employee, has now stepped into the Twilight Zone. He wasn't there, though, but I'm sure he was somewhere hanging out in the shadows. Ladies and gentlemen, call centers are horrible. This is by far the worst experience I've ever had. The best part of this job were the people that worked alongside of me. Amazing, amazing people that work with me. Very nice, very friendly, hardworking, mostly younger people that were working one or two other jobs. They're about to have kids. They had families. They had a lot of real serious issues, some of them, and it's unfortunate. I don't know why you people out there in the corporate world think you got to lie to us, just come to work, put us through these horrible things just so you guys can, meet the bottom line. It's awful. What a pathetic organization. Awful organization. The worst I've ever seen. I won't do it again. I will not do it. I swear to you right now. I swear to you on my book. Breathe. John Lennon, Conspiracy to Murder. I swear in this book I will never work in a call center again. I swear to the ghost of John Lennon. Amen. Have a good night. Buy my book. Breathe. John Lennon, Conspiracy to Murder. Thank you. Good night.